Welcome to episode number 14 of the 212 and the 305 podcast. Just so you're not confused, we decided to change up the logo today. We put my day job logo, 212 Tax and Accounting Services, up because we did that because to change things up, but also because we're going to talk a little bit more about taxes than we usually do today. One of my newer Miami friends, Leslie Marenco.
Yes.
Pronounced it right? Okay, good.
Good job.
Leslie, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I'll be honest, I just learned today you were born in New York, but please go ahead, tell us about that and just give us a little intro on you and your practice.
I was going to say, he's being a little gracious because I think the real reason the logo is up there is he realized I'm much more boring than maybe some of his other guests, and I don't know where to eat or where to go or what to do or where to party. So he's like, we got to switch this up to something more.
Well, at some point we'll have to get one of your favorite Miami restaurants, but we'll wait till later on that one. Think about it.
I'll have to think hard. I really will. So I'm Leslie Marenco. I'm an estate planning attorney, and I am the managing partner of Trust Counsel, a law firm in Coral Gables where we basically specialize in trust and estates. I say that's the big umbrella, whether we're doing planning, foundational estate planning, whether we're doing estate tax planning and mitigation, or on the administration side, if people don't do any planning and they end up in probate, or even if some of the family members aren't so happy with what was done, and there's litigation, we have a litigation department. So, and
right.
we are in
So you
Coral
have it
Gables.
all in house. Nice.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
And we've become very departmentalized. I've had the firm for 11 years,
Nice.
And as we've grown it out, I'm a big believer in specializing, and probate attorneys are probate attorneys, and litigators are litigators, and planning attorneys are planning attorneys. So. We certainly have.
And which area do you kind of oversee all of them, or you focus on one yourself?
I unfortunately oversee all of them, but when I am dragged into one area because we have to replace an associate or something like that, an attorney, I'm back in the estate tax area.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's good for today. Okay.
Yeah.
And a little bit about how long were you in New York for?
So I was born in New York. I was born in Port Chester, and I lived in Rybrook. And I came down to Miami for my first engineering job because way before I was a lawyer, I was a civil engineer. And I had gone to Florida to study engineering, and that was only because Columbia didn't take me. It is the biggest tragedy of my life to this day.
Sounds like you're doing okay.
I really thought I was like a shoo-in, and apparently I wasn't that special.
This is Columbia for undergrad.
Yeah.
Okay, so you ended up going to, was it Gainesville?
And so I ended up going to UF because my best friend was there. He was studying engineering at the time. He ends up becoming an architect because he absolutely hated those fucking math classes. Are we allowed to?
Don't worry, all good.
I'm like, are we allowed to curse on this podcast? I curse a lot.
It might be the first time, but it's okay.
I curse a lot, guys. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
And so he ends up going to architecture. I realize I have no talent. I can't build anything or draw anything. So I stayed in engineering with the math nerds. And they were recruiting like crazy. I graduated engineering school December 2004. And that was booming development down here in South Florida the first time around. And they were recruiting, and I got sent to Miami.
Ironically enough, in Gainesville, a lot of the New Yorkers, Northeasterners, they want to go to Gainesville. Gainesville is now such a desired school.
Really?
Big time, yeah. I mean, a little bit political with all that stuff with the universities, the Ivy Leagues, but for many reasons, you have people wanting to go to Texas and Florida now. Gainesville specifically, I had a friend who was here last week, and they toured Gainesville yesterday with their daughter.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, they went to see UMiami, where close to where you are. They went to see Gainesville, and they look at Texas too. But they're really a lot of them want to come down here now for school.
I was trying to figure out a way, any way I could to kind of get out. I started doing other semesters in other places.
Right. It was a whole different world back in
a semester here at FIU because I had another friend that was studying. She was actually chemistry. She wanted to be pre-med.
Okay.
And so she was at FIU. That was the first time I ever saw FIU. So no, I mean, the middle of nowhere, Gainesville is certainly, I don't, one other thing, I guess, I don't know anything about American football. There's a huge disadvantage there, I would say, right? So, no, I was there because he was studying engineering and I was a math nerd too, I didn't know what else to do with my life at the time.
And then for law school, you went where?
For law school, I actually started at UM, kind of the same thing that happened to me undergrad. And because they had a night program, and year one, they cut the night program, and I had to transfer to FIU, which was probably the best thing that ever happened. They had such an amazing program that they had put together, and it was so cheap. Like I was still working as an engineer. I was paying out of pocket. And FIU was, I don't remember exactly what the subsidized student loan was, like thank you Obama, but it had to be like $8,000 a year or something, like $4,200 a semester.
Oh, wow.
And it would pay for all the classes, all the books, and like it would cut you a check for the rest of the money. And I was like, is this a joke? Like this is amazing how cheap this school is. I believe it is not that cheap anymore.
Right, I'm sure, no.
I actually don't even know if there are subsidized student loans anymore, right? The world has changed.
Speaking of that, I'm going to talk to you off camera. My older one is heavy on law school. She's a freshman, but she just got an internship in New York City with a litigation group, so we'll talk about that. But that's also why I'm more into law, like learning, because she's eventually probably going to go to law school. So
Sure.
That's why I was very curious about that. But let's get into like some topics. Let's start with what's the biggest, here, let's... I had a bunch of notes here, but
I end up in estate planning. Quite haphazardly, I would say. But I will tell you, it was probably for someone that has a linear way of thinking or a math background, right? Like we have in engineering, or like you have in tax. Truly, estate planning or tax ends up being like a fantastic area of law for your, I mean, I don't know what your daughter is going to be interested in, right?
We'll see.
Like litigators
She's only a freshman now.
litigators.
We have time. Yeah.
Right. Like certain person. And a lot of people ask me that all the time. Like, oh, you do litigation? And I guess it's because I'm kind of loud and I'm kind of temperamental and I have certain personality traits. But honestly, estate planning is a great area of law for anyone that is mathematically inclined, and has a very linear way of thinking, because the way that we structure assets ultimately requires a lot of very fast thinking down a process, right? So it was a great thing that I ended up, and it wasn't on purpose, I promise you. As an engineer, most of the time they're like, oh, you're gonna do patent law, or you're gonna do construction litigation, or whatever it is. And I graduated law school end of '09. So the world had collapsed, right? Like everything was going to shit quickly.
Right, of course, the financial crisis.
And so I took the bar in February of 2010, and then I just happened to get this job. They called me I met somebody at the corporate run, because that's the most Miami thing ever.
Miami's, what is that?
Yeah, like Miami's like the biggest small town there is, I guess. I guess they say that about New York too, right? Like everybody knows everybody in Miami.
It ends up happening.
And I was hanging out with some people in a tent at the corporate run.
It's like a what do they call it? A 5K or something like that?
Yeah, it's one of these. Right. And it's like hot as hell out, and guys, I don't run, okay? So I was hanging out there, and you're always
you weren't participating, you were just hanging out. Got it.
I was not really participating at all, but all engineering firms love to sponsor this and participate. And I was just looking for a good tent with maybe some alcohol that you're not allowed to have, FYI. And I happened to see this law firm and a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in years in that tent. And I walked in, and that's how I met the HR director of that law firm, and she called me about 6 months later, and that was my first job. So that's very Miami.
Cool story. I love that.
That is very Miami.
So a lot of what we do is help business owners, self-employed people, with their tax issues, tax prep, tax planning. What do you feel? Any specific things with the new laws with business owners or self-employed people specifically? Or, like in terms of your world.
Oh my gosh.
Mine, yeah.
So I guess in both our worlds, one of the big whatever that after the big beautiful bill, or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly.
Don't come for me in the comments, guys. Right. Okay, like whether it's the ugly bill.
No, we can call
or
it
the
that for
bill,
now. Yeah,
I don't care what. I
love watching those congressional things.
Yeah,
the ugly.
The ugly bill, the beautiful bill. Honestly, for this conversation, it doesn't fucking matter. There are for people that want to exit their businesses, right? Now, all of a sudden, the exclusion on capital gains for the small business, that happens to be like something that somebody's calling my office for at least once a week. So I would say, because, we don't live, we estate planning attorneys that are even on the tax side, we don't live on usually in the year-to-year income tax side. We're not dealing with what you're filing on your 1040. We're usually dealing with the transfer tax of things, whether in life or at death. Right. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing that I've seen, that a law that has changed like that usually doesn't affect my world so much, does, because most of our clients are business owners. Just by the nature. How long have you been in Miami now, Anil?
3 years. Almost 3 years.
3 years. Yeah. Okay. I mean, when I came here, I thought this was a crazy place. And it is a
I still
crazy
think
place.
it
Still is a fucking crazy place, honestly. But, the dynamic down here of how wealth is concentrated or where it comes from and whether that's, international money that's just pouring in and they're hedging their bet, right? They want US dollars when something happens to them, whether it's in a piece of property or otherwise. So when the, economy in Argentina goes to shit for the 100th time this century, it's fine because they've hedged their currency with US property or whatever it is. But let's say normal domestic people, not international tax planning, they're usually business owners. There was no great industry, other than cocaine, and that's not the industry we're talking about today, happening in Miami in the last, 30 or 40 years.
Right.
So who are the people with wealth? People that invested in real estate early on because they came here in the 70s and bought like a piece of shit on the Miami River that's now worth a gazillion dollars. Or they've just started businesses and they've grown those businesses. And that's why, most of our clients are business owners and they were very interested in any exclusion on capital gains.
Anyone saving on capital gains, deferring or eliminating capital gains.
Absolutely.
You deal with a lot of 1031s?
And so,
I know that's not exactly your world, but
no, we really
clients,
don't.
Oh, no, okay.
No, there's a lot of, a lot of these companies that only do 1031s have cornered the market.
Okay.
And they've truly made it so economical that you will pay me a lot more money, way more money.
It's like when someone asks me for like payroll or or sales. I get it.
Exactly. At this day and age, we're happy to do it for you, but we're going to charge you 10 times what.
It's not going to be the most efficient way to go.
Yeah, for sure. And what is your usual? So you still have, I imagine, a lot of clients from New York.
Most of my clients are still live and/or work from New York. I'm expanding in Miami slowly. I guess one thing that, obviously there's no state and local here, right? So I guess the desire to maybe work with someone like me may not be as much. But one thing I'm doing now that I'm like fully settled here and I'm not going anywhere and my parents are close by and I'm really comfortable, I'm going to pursue more Miami clients, to be honest with you. But most of it is still New York. So
what brought you down here, I guess?
No, it's fine. Really just a better quality of life,
Really?
Yeah, that's really what it is. Honestly, like, it helps for business for sure. Like people seeing the two offices, two addresses, licensed in 2 states doesn't hurt.
Sure.
But really just better quality of life, and to go back see my daughters once a month, it's quite easy. As we know, there's 100 flights a day.
Right.
So and my parents being here also, that too.
Your parents were already here.
My parents moved down to South of Fifth about 2011, 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've been snowbirds since then.
Sure.
So I guess between those two things, just like better quality of life, being close to my parents, and more friends and family, either moving down permanently or snowbirding, and the connection between the 2 cities, 2 areas. So that's what I'm very happy. Best decision I made in my life,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very happy to be down here. So
I always joke if I win the lotto, I have like 3, I'll live in 3 places. I'll have like, a penthouse in Madrid, a penthouse in New York City, and probably a penthouse in Buenos Aires somewhere. But I don't think Miami would be on the...
Buenos Aires, okay.
Yeah, I don't think Miami would really be on the list of places.
Right, I guess like me, being new to look, what happens in the future, who knows,
Yeah.
I'm only 46, I have time, but like to maybe explore another state or city. I don't know if I would leave the country.
Right.
Do you have a connection to Buenos Aires? Is that
actually, my dad is from Buenos Aires.
Okay. I was going to say that was... All right.
I used to travel a lot when I was, before I started this firm. I've had this firm 11 years. But before that, I worked in a smaller law firm that got out by a bigger law firm. And I was put on a plane to anywhere. I was by far the youngest. And I maybe shouldn't have said I don't get jet lag. I think that's bullshit. Now that I'm 40, I realize jet lag is not bullshit. It is real.
No, it is
real, guys. But back then, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I went to like India. I went to Mumbai once.
Oh, wow.
And I had there was no such thing as jet lag. Like I did not feel a difference. I had no issues sleeping. I'm also a pretty heavy sleeper. But
you went to Mumbai for work?
Yeah.
Wow,
There's
cool.
a lot of international tax conferences all over Asia and whatever. They're always moving it around, and people want the deduction, right? So they're like, let's make it in a cool place. So we were in New Delhi, and then there were some meetings in Mumbai, but. So that's just, I used to go everywhere, and I definitely went all over Latin America, and Argentina was just a very pretty city. Like Buenos Aires is a beautiful city, and it's super cheap, and the culture is just fantastic. And so that's why I always thought, if I could choose where I'm going to live in the world, because money's not an option.
Yeah, for me, it was South Florida. Now I'm happy here, and we'll see what happens. But it's nice to have someone to look forward to and a goal, right?
Yeah.
So you're not in any of those cities yet. That's your goal.
No,
to be there
not at
soon.
all.
Okay.
And I haven't traveled. I try not to travel anymore.
Okay.
Like I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, I love to travel," and no, I don't. I don't want to go anywhere if I don't have to. And it's not that I'm a homebody or anything. I feel like I've done so much of it before.
Right.
It's I need a wife. I joke. I don't have a wife. Nobody takes care of me.
Right.
So my cleaning lady's wonderful, and she's like my house manager. But still, that doesn't like put my life back together after I've had to go somewhere else to come back.
Right. No, I hear you. Yeah, for me, it's about like quality than quantity. I'm like, I could do a couple trips a year, make them nice, and like I'm good with that. Like 1 or 2 trips a year. I don't need to keep going every couple months. Or I get it. I mean, we're both professionals, busy professionals.
Yeah.
We want to and build our practices. No, I totally get. where
Yeah,
you're
and I'm
coming
already
from,
at like practice management conferences several times a year.
Oh, okay.
I have a mastermind called Iron Sharpens Iron for lawyers that we meet a bunch of times a year. Nothing's local, right? It's always like, oh, we're going to Utah, we're going to Park City or whatever. And so to me, it's already like enough. It's enough. I don't need any more.
Yeah, I hear you. No.
Yeah.
So tell us, in your opinion, the biggest misconception people have when it comes to estate planning?
Oh my gosh. Okay. There's so many. And I'm going to plug. So I also have a podcast. My podcast is not
please. That's
not
what
as
we're here
fun
for.
as this podcast.
No, please.
It is a technical podcast, and it is about estate planning. And all we're doing is breaking down celebrity estates.
Okay.
I usually have another tax professional or another estate planning lawyer, sometimes a family law attorney, because there's a lot of baby mama drama in celebrity estates we've learned, or people getting fake married or real married, or people come out of the woodwork saying they were married when they weren't, whatever. Wow. So every now and then we have a family law attorney, but there's so many misconceptions. Just thinking of the last couple of podcasts that we had, a big misconception, I think, especially this is South Florida, we have a very Latin community, right? That you don't need to do any planning at all. And there's a reason why that mindset is there. In Latin America, in civil law countries in general, there's something called la legitima, or forced heirship laws. And so that means like whatever I got, the law already says it going a portion to my spouse and a portion to my kids, and I can't do shit else. And there is no equivalent of our probate succession process here through the court that's public and everything else. In most countries, it's like going down to the clerk's office and saying like, I'm the spouse of the deceased, and like here are the kids, and like stamp some shit here and like transfer my stuff to me. And that doesn't exist here in this country, guys. We're a common law country, except for like Louisiana and a few quirky like things going on there with civil law aspects that they have. You have to do planning here. And I used to have a partner many years ago. His name is Jason Warshofsky. And shout out to Jason, because he does only probate. And he used to tell me, like, stop telling people to do planning. We make so much more money when they don't do shit, Like, forget this estate planning bullshit. Let them all die without any planning done, with no will, with no trust. And we'll just rack up the fees later. Because it's true. The amount of money, just the amount of time and work that goes into an administration when there is no planning, is the lawyers make a lot more money that way, right? So the biggest misconception is that I don't really have to do anything. It'll sort itself out. And it will eventually sort itself out. Just people like me are gonna rack in a whole lot more fees when
that's
do.
where the litigation department
and then that'll even be further if anybody wants to argue about what's going on, if kids come out of the woodwork or whatever it is. So that's definitely the biggest misconception, I would say. Or I'm not rich enough to do estate planning, right? I sometimes tell people, this is Miami. Like, a parking space in the ghetto will cost you more money than like a house in most places, right? So if you have anything here, I mean, you own a normal 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, my God, I mean, I live very close to my office. I walk there.
Right.
And I truly, guys, in a piece of shit house in Coral Gables. Like, it is falling apart, for God's sakes. I lease it. I've been there 8 years. And that thing, if I wanted to buy it, it's going to cost me like $3 million, right? Like, and I'm a big proponent of, not that I'm going anywhere, but I've never wanted to buy a piece of property. I don't really want to deal with it. It's super easy to be a tenant, and invest the rest of my money in the way that I would
renting,
like.
And I'm a big believer in renting. It's
Yes.
not always this thing you have to buy, you have to own, you have to buy. I get
God,
it.
no.
Renting makes sense a lot of the time. I get it.
It really, really does, compared to the price, because
Especially down here. Yeah.
Especially down here, the owner of my house owns it since the 70s. I get the benefit of that lower kind of, that's what they rent it to me for. If I buy this thing, it would be 5 times my rent, which is wild, right? So down here, honestly, if you owe any piece of property, if you have, even as little as $1 million in total assets, if you think of everything that you own, the house, the bank accounts, the 401k, some investments, whatever it is, you should really do some estate planning, because the amount of money and time and effort, and it's totally public. The probate process is totally public. This is how I'm able to do my podcast and pull Michael Jackson's will and the shit show that went on, and Aretha Franklin's wills under the couch cushion.
It's public no matter what state you're in.
It's totally public no matter what state you're in. So you should really do some planning, even if you think you're
So there's no minimum amount that it needs to be to make it? No,
not at all. There's certainly levels of planning. If you don't have a whole lot, then maybe what you need is something basic to avoid that process. And of course, as you get up there with more complex assets or greater amount of wealth, we'll be able to do other things, but there's plans for every single person. Maybe you and I are not the professionals for someone that doesn't need something more complex. I say that all the time. I'm going to refer you back out to somebody else. Believe it or not, my biggest referral source is other estate planning lawyers. Other estate planning lawyers are the ones that refer to me the most.
Happens in my industry. I get it.
Yeah, along with financial advisors and then CPAs like yourself. So it really depends on what people are looking for, but we have a great client services team that kind of sorts that out before you ever waste too much time coming to see us.
Nice.
So yeah.
Do we want this? I know this is a little technical. I did send it on the email last night. Irrevocable trust versus revocable trust. I know we could be here for days, but maybe on like a super high level,
Yes, very high level. And I will say, let me also say this with my bias, because the internet and social media has really changed the landscape of everything that we do, right? And when I have someone calling the office and they get on the phone with one of our client services, and we have 4 of them on the team. They've been with me forever, so they're quite knowledgeable. And someone starts talking about, all these fancy names, and irrevocable is the title of all these fancy names. It's almost like the next question is, did you hear this on the Tickety Talk? Like, if you heard about it on the Tickety Talk, it might not be A, real, or B, for you. But big picture, right? Your revocable trust is a very basic document in the sense that it's taking over, it's your will substitute. It says everything that you want to happen. And it is kind of like a structure. I sometimes tell clients, it's kind of like an LLC. Everybody has an LLC, right? Everybody opens an LLC to
takes
put
2
some
seconds
bullshit
and not
in
a lot of money. Yeah,
exactly. It's kind of like that. It's a holding vehicle for assets, but you're the only one in that LLC. So while you're alive in your revocable trust, you're the grantor, you're the trustee, you're the only beneficiary, and it's totally passed through. There's no extra tax return. There's no anything like that. Any income being generated there goes on your 1040. There's absolutely no difference in your life. The second you pass away, it's this wonderful thing that avoids the entire probate process, because you have designated who is the successor trustee that is going to take over for you. So while you're alive, it's very, very seamless. It's very painless. It's your basic level of planning. The second you get into irrevocable trusts, that thing is its own animal. That thing has its own tax ID number. That thing needs a special tax return, a 1041, right? I'm sure you do some 1041s, Anil, right? That is a whole, and on paper, you cannot control that vehicle. The reason for that, the only 2 reasons to do an irrevocable trust, and there's many different types, is for tax planning or for asset protection planning. And think of this on a spectrum here. The more control you have over something, the more the law generally will say that it can be taken from you. So whenever you hear this, I believe this quote is attributed to Rockefeller, control everything, own nothing. That's actually what we're talking about with irrevocable trusts. There's a lot of levers to be pulled in irrevocable trusts where you can control certain things, but you are never legal title owner of the trust anymore. You're not equitable title owner either. The legal owner of the trust is your trustee, somebody you're putting in place to do things for you and to legally own the assets. And the equitable owners are the people that are the ultimate beneficiaries. You are not going to be any of those people, like at least not directly. So there's ways around things, and what is it? Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. You can't get too cute, guys. The second you get too cute in the way that you structure these things, they may be collapsed by whatever agency it is we're looking at, whether it's the service, whether it's the IRS, whether it's a court in a state, the state law court that is coming after you for an asset, some type of breach of fiduciary duty, a partnership interest, a car accident, whatever.
I've been using that phrase a lot the last few months because my accountant friend said it a few months ago. I've been using it a lot too, yes, but yeah.
Yeah, so we always look at where's the risk coming from. When somebody comes in our office and goes, I'm looking to do some asset protection, and I heard on the tickety talk that there's all of these whatever, South Africa, the Gurney Island, irrevocable trust. Not to mention the cost that it takes to not necessarily just a normal irrevocable trust, but people start hearing about Wyoming, South Dakota, and whatever, Alaska. And these are all fantastic asset protection jurisdictions. It's not that that's not true, it is. But there's a cost to that, guys. And there needs to be a reason to embark on that journey. And so everything is a sliding scale in my world of cost benefit, and what situation is someone going through that the cost and the benefit makes sense, right? Like,
no, for sure. Yeah, you explained that really well. Thank you for that. That's going to be very. I'm going to have to definitely. I'm definitely going to replay this a lot because I heard this here, there, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and they think it makes people feel it's just so easy and so simple. And you explained it well because not only is it there's a cost, there's audit risk, there's all this stuff, and that people don't consider. But that's why they come to people like you and I, right? So
yeah. And on the estate tax side, so the estate tax is a little bit less of a concern for most people these days, unless you have over 15 million if you're single, 30 million if you're married. And when we say, I tell people this too, the IRS, when you pass away, is no longer interested in, well, they still are, but not in my world, interested in income. They're no longer interested in like, how much money did you earn last year and what does that look like? We now have to declare within 9 months of you passing away, so not on your normal tax schedule, all of the assets that you have, if you're a U.S. person, if you're a green card holder, let's just make it that simple, everywhere in the world, right? So even that fantastic loft in Thailand, in Bangkok, that used to be worth nothing, that is actually worth quite a bit. There's too many Americans in Bangkok these days, making everything kind of go up in price. So everything in the world that you own is going to go on this tax return. So we need actually top level value, right? We're not interested in how much money it's generating. We need to know the value of that apartment. And when I say
fair market value of date of death, more or less?
Fair market value, yes.
At date of death, right?
At date of death. You can kind of claim some other dates, but almost never beneficial. And I always say, my opinion on what that is worth, or client, your opinion on what that is worth, is nonsense. Nobody cares what you or I think. Somebody with very fancy letters behind their name need to write a report that is going to, really matter when we do this. So when we're looking at irrevocable trusts for the purpose of devaluing the estate, transferring assets out of the estate, and when I say devaluing, I mean devaluing on paper, because we have lack of control, lack of marketability, and however it is that we're structuring this with other vehicles, that's a much more complex conversation with a client. If they're like, hey, I'm at $50 million gross, right? And so we need to do something. Irrevocable trusts are certainly going to be used as vehicles for that, but that is a much more involved conversation with the financial advisor, the client's CPA, and us, probably for the next year of things that we're going to put in place, right? So much more involved.
So it goes way beyond that 9-month deadline. That's just the beginning of the process.
No, when we're doing planning for that, when somebody is still alive,
got it.
It takes a while because we'll come up with a couple ideas. We'll put together something for the CPA to vet because certainly we don't want to cause an income tax problem, right? If all of a sudden I could save you some money on the tax side when you're dead, that's lovely, Leslie. But if it's going to cost me a shit ton more money while I'm alive,
more painful that way.
Not going to be happy with me, right? You're going to tell the client your estate planning attorney is an idiot because now we got to pay a shit ton more money next year. So we all got to be on the same page about the strategies that we use, right, to help a client reduce that tax.
Yeah, no, it always has to be these 3 or 4-way conversations, meetings to make sure we're speaking the same language. No, for sure. So on that note, a good transition. What is we already kind of got into this, but anything else about the ideal collaboration between a CPA and a trust and estate attorney?
Oh my gosh. I would say even for my foundational clients. So foundational clients are your normal, everyday Miami family, usually a business owner, may or may not have young children still. But they usually still have minor children. Believe it or not, a lot of people think, estate planning lawyers are dealing with 90-year-olds all day. That is absolutely not our market at all, one way or the other. That's not who's being referred to me. There is always some type of collaboration, whether it's just, I would even say, a couple phone calls and an email to the client's CPA. I would love to meet the client's CPA. We're doing this planning at any point in time in the year. When is the client CPA going to be much more concerned about what the hell did you just do next tax season, right? When they're all of a sudden there's these trusts, or we restructured, or we recapitalized a company, or we've restructured into a family limited partnership. And tax season is not the best time for the CPA to realize that now all this shit show is in place, right? So at a minimum, phone calls and emails as an introduction and, hey, this is what we're doing. And either nothing is going to change or based on what we're doing, or all of these things might change on your side. And then I leave it to the CPA to reach out to me. I always give everybody my cell phone number all professionals, my cell phone number to reach out and go, hey, we should have a conversation about this or not, right? So that's on the most basic. If we're doing real planning on the estate tax side, that's absolutely ongoing conversations with the CPA. For the entire time that we're doing that planning, the CPA must be involved. And I tell clients this all the time too, right? I don't know if you structure your fees this way. I've noticed a lot of CPAs now are doing a monthly fee, right? You do planning all year, you're doing quarterlies, you're doing whatever, the whole shebang. Once somebody like me gets involved and now I'm harassing you for information and I need tax returns and I need to talk to you, and it's not, I tell clients, expect your CPA to now charge you more. They have to. I don't want every time I call you for you to be like, I got to talk to this girl again and she's asking me 100 questions and I may have to even run a forecast or something. And no, a client needs to understand that when we engage in that kind of higher end complex planning that we need to do, because the tax is very high. It's not as high as it used to be, but 40% tax when you pass away, if you're above that magic number, is a very high tax, right? So we're saving you boatloads, shit tons of money by doing this planning. And they're already gonna have to pay me what they're gonna have to pay me. But for sure, I always tell a client, whatever structure is happening with the CPA, there should probably be an hourly retainer for you guys, because I don't want you to hate every time I call you.
Oh, got it. That makes sense.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I know I have this in my practice where a lot of times I'll get approached, it's this time of year, tax season, and I'm like, you know what? I'll take this on, but I don't know how much value I'm going to add. Maybe, and I don't mention specific things, but maybe you're better off going to, I don't know, okay, fine, the TurboTax of the H&Rs, because I'll do it for this price, my minimum fee, but I'm not really going to add much value. I'm very upfront about it, especially this time of year. So, because there's one of these questions that came up, and I'll be honest, I chat GPT the questions to ask you, and this came up, and that's why I picked and sent you some last night.
I love that.
But one of the chat GPT suggestions was, DIY estate planning platforms, risky or reasonable? I mean, I think I already know your answer, but because I in my own practice, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'll take it on, but I'm not going to add value. If it's done right, it's done right. There's no magic wand. Does that come across I'm sure that comes across your plate sometimes.
So interestingly, I don't think I have ever told a client to go find the TurboTax equivalent of
which I guess LegalZoom, right?
LegalZoom, right? We recognize very quickly when somebody probably doesn't need to really become one of our clients, and they should call any number of other estate planning attorneys that I refer to. And that happens several times a week, I'll say that. I have joked around with this idea with some of my team that I should do like a video on, like record yourself of me going through a LegalZoom, like step by step, showing people where this shit will not work, where this shit will fall apart, and it's not because LegalZoom in and of itself is a bad platform. I'm sure
it works
it's perfectly
great for some things.
fine.
Yeah. I think I trademarked this on LegalZoom.
Excellent. Like, it's that you don't know what you don't know. So
Right.
I'll give you the biggest red flag if you're gonna DIY your own will, let's say, okay? In Florida, most of the money that you think of that's going to the people that you really love is called the residuary. And of course, that is a term that nobody, if you're not an attorney or another kind of financial professional, would understand. Why is that important? People get on the LegalZooms, and the reason we know this is because of our litigation department, right? This is how we know what LegalZoom or whatever these platforms look like. I'm not, poor LegalZoom, don't come for me either, okay? Like, I'm gonna get like a cease and desist, stop talking shit about us, whatever. So whatever the platform is that our litigation department is constantly dealing with, and they're all different, we've realized this is the biggest thing people screw up. So if you're gonna DIY your own will, please, people think of, I have this house, and I have this car, and I have these accounts, and I have whatever, and I'm gonna say, I wanna leave my house, this is the address, to my 3 kids, this is their names, and I wanna leave just the bank account to my other kid, and I want, whatever. You think of your assets in a very piecemeal fashion, and that is not the way testamentary distributions work generally. It's just not. If you wanna leave a specific gift that is, and I mean specific here, guys, like the vase, the Van Gogh.
Piece of art.
Or the piece of art, fine. You say, I want to leave this thing to this person. But if what you're really trying to do is, I want everything that I own to go to my 3 kids, then literally it's to my descendants. Period. Done. The end. Everything that you try to put in the gift category, which is what you're essentially doing when you start going, my house, my whatever, what ends up happening is by the time you pass away, that ain't your house. You've moved.
Right.
The bank account doesn't matter because there's a pay on death on the bank account. Your 401k has a beneficiary designation, so it's not gonna go through this will anyway. It may even have like your ex-spouse as your beneficiary.
Right.
Like stupid shit, right? And so people do not understand the way things usually distribute, how things actually go down from the person to who they want it to. And we'll see them piecemeal things, and then there is no residuary. They won't even put a name for the residuary, and by definition, the document will fail, and will have to be probated. And once you're in the probate court, forget it. It takes $43 to make a claim inside of someone's estate.
Oh, wow.
And it's totally public, which is why all your creditors come out of the woodwork to come get their money when you're in probate. So that would be the biggest thing I see that people are doing wrong.
Right,
and
right.
if they just waited till the next screen, I imagine,
Right.
where it's like, who do you want to be the residuary of your estate? I'm making this up, but I imagine that's the question. And then they would put my kids, you know? It wouldn't be such a shit show. Right. It would actually make a lot of sense. I have never, like I said, told anybody, you don't have enough to do any planning. Please go find OfficeDepot.com forms or something. I don't know.
Right.
I have never said that, but I absolutely recognize there's different levels of planning.
Yeah.
And maybe all somebody needs is something very basic, and they should go talk to an attorney and just spend a couple $1,000 on something very basic.
That makes sense.
But I have thought about, recording myself on a LegalZoom, going through it, and as kind of let me help you people out.
Right.
And then I thought, I'm gonna get sued by LegalZoom.
No, it may not be worth it there. I hear you. Yeah.
I'm actually known for being sued by a very fluffy white cat. So many years ago, we wrote about on our blog pet trusts. God knows the marketing company we had, right? That they whatever, it's an adorable white cat, okay? And they put it on the blog. All of a sudden, we got demand letters of the person that owns the picture of this fluffy white cat, because even though it's not your cat,
Right.
if you take a picture of it and you put it on the internet, these are called copyright trolls.
Right.
These assholes. These are shysters is what they are.
Okay.
And they will go searching the internet for anybody that used the picture, right?
wow.
That you didn't have a license to use. And they will sue you because these laws are so old and so ridiculous
right.
that not only are there attorney's fees in the statute, it's like $150,000 per use, whatever.
Yeah.
So we were actually sued by this person. And we always say it's the cat lawsuit, right? So I feel like, don't come for me. Everyone loves to send me demand letters because I got a big mouth and I do shit I shouldn't do. So I have not done the legal
I have a couple
Zoom.
similar stories, but I'll save that for lunch.
He's like, I don't need that on the podcast.
No, it's fine. I've had some similar issues.
But, when I negotiated the settlement for that case.
I mean, suing a lawyer I've never sued a lawyer before. I've never sued anyone like that before. But anyway, you got to sue an attorney. I mean, damn, you know.
Oh man, it was a fun time. It was a fun time. But when we negotiated the settlement, I specifically removed all clauses of like confidentiality. Because I knew I would just be talking shit about this forever, okay? So, like, I removed all of that bullshit. So I will defame them all over town. But, yeah, so that's the only reason, honestly, I have not done the LegalZoom do-it-yourself thing, because I don't know how much LegalZoom would like that, you know? Although I'm helping them out. I'm really helping them out. I'm helping
people.
Said
their name enough over it.
You know?
I hear.
Maybe the Florida bar wouldn't like this. Like, what are you doing? I'm not sure. So I'm trying to keep out of trouble for now.
And you mentioned you have clients. So what is your interaction with New York clients compared? Like,
oh my gosh,
you definitely have. So you service all states, or like, I mean, we can only go in New York for now because limited on time, of course.
Sure, yeah. And I talk a lot. And I don't know if you know this.
It's fine. It's been great. It's been more exciting than I anticipated. So it's great. No, I think there's a lot of useful information here.
So generally, we have a lot of clients, and I'm sure you do too, all moving down here, right? Right. And those are well and good. Like you, it sounds like you actually did move down here. I don't have any residency issues. Right, exactly. It sounds like you truly only go back up to see your daughter or what. And your daughter is not a minor. Your daughter is in college, you said, right?
19 and 16.
19 and 16, right? And do you have any pets? Do you have any animals?
I don't have any pets. No.
You don't. But if you did, where would Floofy
live?
Of
course.
Right
if
now?
I had any pets, they would be in Florida.
They would be in Florida. And
I follow this from Hodgson Russ a lot. I don't know if you heard of them.
No.
Hodgson Russ is the biggest state and local law firm in New York. So they have all these types of advice.
Absolutely. And because there's a very famous case about where is Floofy. And the court actually turned. It's a Texas case. It's a New York case, but they had moved to Texas. And actually this analysis is very similar to the analysis we do when we have foreigners that come here and now they start living here and then they pass away and we're like, shit, where was this person actually domiciled? Which is very different than the kind of residency and what we think of as income tax residency. Not to get too technical, but we do have a lot of clients that have been referred to us because they all seem to want to allegedly, pretend to move to Florida, but not really move to Florida because everything's kind of still in New York or New Jersey or Pennsylvania or whatever it is. And when I say everything, I mean like the businesses, the spouse. I mean, I know I've never been married. Have you been married? I have been married, yes. I've never been married, so I maybe should not opine on how much one must love living with their spouse, right? But I have literally had a client like yell at me about like, if I actually had to live in the same house with that woman, I'd kill her. So it's not fair that I'm being,
maybe that's a secret to a happy marriage. Living in two different states, right?
Maybe. Who is the revenue service? Who is the New York revenue?
New York State Department of Tax and
Finance.
There
you go. Who are they to tell my client how they should live their life, right? But, once again, pigs get fed and hogs get slaughtered. Guys, if it doesn't smell right, if this all seems like a scheme, if you actually haven't moved, because all you did was come down here and hang out on Miami Beach a couple times and,
Or they think they just buy a place, rent a place, and just have it sit there. No, I mean, you actually have to sleep here.
You actually have to be here sometimes. And then they're like, well, I could be here, 180 days, no problem.
They love that 183-day rule. They throw it out like it's...
They love that number. That number is everywhere, right? And they're like, I could absolutely party in South Beach half of the year, no problem. When they have nothing really else going on down, maybe the mistress is down here, I don't know. That's a different conversation. But I get a lot of those. We have a very cute checklist that I could absolutely share with you of like, this is how you might want to truly establish domiciliary in Florida. And we even have people looking out for things. And I say this on our, we were talking about Joan Rivers, actually, on my podcast, because there is also a case. A lot of people in New York will keep their car insurance in New York. because it's much cheaper than the fraudulent bullshit we have going on here in Florida, right? Like car insurance here in Florida is
crazy,
ridiculous.
I know,
Absolutely.
When
Miami,
I changed cars a year ago, I was like, what's this?
Oh my God. Like, I mean, the BMW is already costing you the $1,500 and now the insurance is like $400 a month, right? It's absolutely insane. And so this is one of the factors that there's clients that you're totally full of shit. Like nobody's going to buy this, right? New York is not buying this. And remember, you have the presumption is against you. You must overcome the presumption that you are still in New York. But when people really are on the fence, when I see enough, and they're not trying to be slick, but I see enough facts going in either direction, we start getting into the minutia. Like we truly do of like, I need the cars insured by like El Capitan or Geico or whoever you want in Florida. Cough up the extra $200 a month, man. We're not playing this game when we're talking about your business is still up there and it's making $1 gazillion or whatever it is.
And if the business or the rental property or whatever is in New York, you still got it's still sourced in New York. You got to explain that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, New York source income, you pay tax in New York.
Absolutely. And so it's super interesting, the conversations with these clients. For that purpose. The other big tie we have to New York is estate planning lawyers in New York will refer us all the time.
Okay.
Hey, I have a client moving down there. You know, I'm going to send him your information. I'm going to connect you guys. And that happens all the time. All the time. I belong to many organizations, like lawyer organizations that are all over the place, right? So I make it a point to pop into their Zoom meetings, you know, because they'll have like, I don't know if you've heard of like Provisors or IMBLF, or so these are like attorney groups and whatnot. And there's many chapters in Manhattan, and I'll pop in there specifically to meet the estate planning lawyer in that chapter.
Great. No, that's good business development.
Go, hey, I'm here if you need anybody, if you need, you know. And so that's why we certainly have continuing ties.
I first met you somehow on LinkedIn or online when I was still in New York. I think that's how I didn't meet you in person for a while, but I think I met you somehow through one of these online forums.
Probably.
Myself.
Probably.
Because one thing we share in common, our social media marketing and internet marketing is pretty strong on both ends, right? That's you've obviously had a lot of clients from SEO and things like that, right? Or maybe no,
I do not get a lot of clients from, and I keep track of this data like an insane individual. We do get a lot of probate clients from the internet, right? And that makes sense. They don't have any other advisor to call or reach out to, and somebody died and they need to transfer. They either want the house, they want a bank account, right? And they don't know how to get it, and then the bank tells them you need a letter of administration, and then they start calling around law firms asking for this letter, this magical letter. It's not a letter, guys. It's a court order. You know, like that. I cannot.
Big difference.
I, Leslie Marenco, cannot write you this letter. You know, they're just like, why can't you just draft me a letter? No, that's not what we're doing. So a lot of those clients actually do come off the internet. Because they're searching and will show up. On the planning side, that's very few and far between.
More referrals.
Yeah, it's totally
all referrals. Got it. Okay.
Totally referrals. Yeah. As I'm sure your business too, you know. Like
of course I love the referrals, better quality, long-lasting clients, but I do have, which is kind of how I got into this, I do have a strong SEO presence, YouTube presence.
Really?
I get a lot of clients from that,
So excellent.
You have to know how to deal with it and deal with like filter out the riffraff, I say, but you know, like
the
I said,
crazies.
I would sometimes for sure. But you know, we know how to like deal with the initial consultation, what to offer people, whether it's a short complimentary phone call or a paid Zoom, or you know. So it works. So far, it works. You know, so we go with it.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up and get your contact info and your website and your podcast, and so I'll throw one restaurant out because the Gables, Daniel's Steakhouse.
I haven't been,
but you've heard of it at least.
I have,
because there used to be a place called Philia.
Yeah, it was.
And it was
yes, it was
because I know
like
locals
that.
love it. I've had a couple non-locals say it wasn't okay.
I have not been, but I did hear that whatever that was.
Did you used to go to Philia before it was
down.
Daniel's, or no?
I did go to that place once.
I think it was more of an Italian concept. Now it's more steak, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But same owner from what I hear.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, I did
and there's
not
also
know
a
that.
Daniel's in Fort Lauderdale.
I also didn't know that.
But I'm kind of, I guess, a foodie. So my friends who were here from out of town said that they preferred Sonny's to Daniel's. You've heard of Sonny's Steakhouse?
No.
That's more around this area. Like Little River or something.
You know what? I have not. We are in a very cool area. You are the only person, I think, in the last 5 years that I can think of has gotten me in this area twice.
Oh, up by here, like Wynwood area?
Yeah, because you invited me to that
the
networking event.
Moore Design District.
Are we in the same place?
Pretty close to design.
Pretty close.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
pretty close.
Yeah,
It's so hard to get me out of Coral Gables. It's
Okay.
ridiculous.
Okay.
Like I walk home, I walk to the office. I'm very centralized.
And I guess also don't go into the Gables. I really go to the Gables for like a networking event or a business meeting. I also don't like hang out there. I hear you.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And so it's amazing whenever I went to that, which was a great event. Thank you very much for inviting me. And then here, and so when I was telling everybody in the office, and even my friend Alina, who you met at the event, she's like, "You're going where? Wow!" Like they were very impressed. They were very impressed that you've gotten me, out of my. So no, I have not been to Daniel's. I need to go, and I feel like unless it's networking related or somebody is telling me, "Hey, let's go to this place," I would not know where to go. To be honest, I am absolutely self-proclaimed workaholic.
Okay.
I'm in the office at 6 a.m, and now that I'm older, I can't be there as late as I used to because like my brain just like shuts off and I'm tired. But getting me to go anywhere is a little difficult. So. I'll look to you for where to go.
Yes, anyway. Yep. I could always give a suggestion for a restaurant. No shortage of those. So how big is your practice, and how big are you? Because it seems like you have a lot going on there.
So we are 6 full-time lawyers.
Okay.
We have some of counsels, and we are 29 people in total.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, and absolutely hiring. We have a lot of ads
Always
out and a lot of recruiters.
Okay.
Yes, it's exactly. In our business, it's not always be closing. Actually, it's always be hiring.
Right.
It is incredible how hard it is to find. And I love Obama, but I blame him for this, absolutely. When he made portability permanent and when he raised the exemption initially to $5 million plus inflation, I believe a huge amount of people that would have been trained in this area of law were no longer going to be trained. Either you were at big law or bust, because if you were in a smaller law firm, you just didn't have that level of client, and therefore, the first year, second year, third year, there may not even been a reason to hire a first and second, third year anymore. So I was very lucky, but there's a huge gap in this market. So estate planning lawyers in New York, come to Florida. You have a job, a very well-paid one.
But they have to transfer they don't. Oh, that's what portability means?
Oh, no. I meant tax portability between the spouses.
But getting licensed in Florida is the whole thing.
But honestly, especially on the estate tax planning side, that is federal, totally. We have nothing going on here.
Okay, got it.
So I have recruited people from New York before. And initially, they're not barred in Florida. And within a year, they usually sit for the bar and do whatever. But they're usually doing tax planning.
So it's not as complicated as people think it may be.
It's really not.
Okay.
Like if you're at a certain age where, I don't know, you don't got 3 kids in school and a spouse and, you might be able to make the move in your career.
Good to know. No, we'll keep that. Because my network is largely in New York, so good to know. Definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They'll never be unemployed.
Yeah.
I kid you not. I had to fire an associate in that department because this is Miami, and he was not from up north. He was from another state that I don't remember, Georgia, Tennessee, whatever. And he had moved down. He was a Florida barred attorney, and but this is the first time he lived in Miami. And he realized very quickly, that the hookers and coke are a lot of fun in Miami, right? So he was not coming to work and doing the things I needed him to do. I literally fired him on a Wednesday. The next Monday, he had a job. That is how. Literally the shortage of estate tax planning lawyers that we have in Miami right now.
That's a funny story.
By Monday, he had a job. I was like, man, I almost second guessed maybe I should have fired him. I should have just kept him.
Sometimes you have to put up with certain things that you wouldn't put up in other areas.
God damn it.
Yeah. As long as the job gets done in a way. I hear you. So what's the best? Tell us, how do we get in touch with you, your team?
Oh my goodness. So I feel like we're all over the place. If you Google Trust Counsel, exactly like that.
The name of the firm is called Trust Counsel.
Yes. It used to be like Marenco, Warshawski, Badron, Rodriguez. And in 2018, I was like,
keep it simple, right?
I was like, this is bullshit. We gotta make this more generic. Every time I have a partner or somebody comes in or out, we're not changing the name of the firm. This is ludicrous.
Makes sense.
So it's Trust Counsel, exactly how you think it's spelled. And the podcast is Having Fun with Death and Taxes. We clip it, and it's all over LinkedIn, because that was the only purpose of the podcast, really, was to create some video content
to post
for
on
us.
LinkedIn.
And it's just celebrity estates. We just talk shit about everything that goes wrong in those estates. So there's a lot of lessons there that even normal people can take from every celebrity estate, believe it or not.
And your website is trustcounsel.com.
Trustcounsel.com.
Wow, nice domain. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Nice.
it was. It took me a couple of years to get it, by the
Yeah,
way.
it's
Like,
not-
because they wanted like, $1 gazillion for it. I'm like, are you people
Right.
nuts?
No,
This is in
yeah,
1995. Like, get out of
Well,
here.
one of the reasons why I named the company this was because I got it on GoDaddy for $10 or whatever.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it was there. So at first I got that, and then I eventually trademarked. So yeah, but nice. I
So
love
yes,
it.
I feel like it's easy to find me.
Okay.
If you find me on Facebook, all I share is coffee memes because I'm, kind
Right.
of, always
Yeah.
very caffeinated
Right.
since we work so much. But I also have that checklist that I'll send to you. I don't know,
yes,
maybe
yes.
you could.
I will definitely share that.
There's
and
like a
yes.
link to this thing, and
No,
it's
we're
like,
gonna. Well, I'm gonna, with your permission, post this as much as like. Yeah.
Please.
So we're gonna get it.
Please.
We're gonna get your contact from out there, but not that you need more clients, but you can't hurt, right? So yeah.
I do need more lawyers.
More lawyers. I know. It's always, one thing you never think. I went to an entrepreneurial college called Babson College, and
Oh, did you?
Yeah, which
Oh
is
my
Yeah,
God.
you've heard of it. They have a Brickell campus. Yeah.
I've absolutely heard of it because
Yeah.
half of Latin America wants to go
Right,
to this.
right.
I
Now
would say
it's-
the wealthy people in Latin
Right,
America
right.
want to go to this college.
So one thing like of course you talk more like building your business, getting clients.
Yes,
and of
very
course
entrepreneurial.
there was the HR class and all these other classes about running a business. But one thing you don't learn, at least in college or even in life sometimes, how hard it is to. It's
Oh my
like
God.
more of a challenge to get employees, team members, people to join your team
Oh my
than it is to
God.
get new clients. You don't think about that as being an entrepreneur
Absolutely
sometimes.
not.
At least in the early
You
stages
don't-
of being an entrepreneur. Right?
Yeah, you don't
So-
realize like your biggest, for sure, your biggest struggles, your biggest things you're going to need to overcome is how to get the team, how to manage a team. I even will go to how to lead a team, although that gets very
Right.
woo-woo very quickly.
Right.
It becomes the central point of how do I grow this business, and you can only take it so far alone.
Right.
And then you realize you don't know how to do any of this shit, right? Like you never thought you'd be, I don't know, overseeing other attorneys and overseeing staff and hiring and firing and doing everything else. So there's a lot of growing pains. There's a lot of growing up to do, I think, when you have your own business. And I think there's
yeah.
a lot of ego confronting
yeah.
of everything you're bad at when you have your own business.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to keep the ego down and focus on just growing the firm.
It hits you in the
and-
face,
Yeah.
constantly of like what you're bad at. And it's going to show on your P&L, my friend. Everything you're bad at is going to show up
Yeah.
on your P&L. So.
You got your accounting brain working sometimes. I hear you.
Man,
You have to.
I have a fractional CFO. He yells at me every Monday morning. Every Monday morning.
Well, thank you so much, Leslie. It's been
Thank
great
you.
having you. Again, a lot more. I'm really excited to post this because we're going to have to say the most exciting one yet. I'll honestly tell you that. I'm very happy. So it's my pleasure
You
to have
say
you.
that to all your guests,
No,
Anil.
you can watch them. It's all public. You can see. I don't think I've said that yet. I did not think an attorney would be the most exciting. I'll be honest. But-
Certainly not an estate planning
Yeah,
attorney.
exactly. Right. But thanks so much.
Thank you.